The Scary New Year Night, 2026.
They thought it would be just another New Year's party, music, laughter, and wine. But that night had a darkness they could never escape. Midnight was supposed to bring a fresh start. Instead, it awakened a farmhouse that remembered every secret, every sin, every lie. Some nights celebrate you. Some nights hunt you. This New Year's Eve, survival was never guaranteed. People in America love New Year's Eve because it gives them permission to lie to themselves. It tells them the past is done, the future is clean, and mistakes magically expire at midnight. That lie works, most of the time, until a night comes along that doesn't reset anything. A night that remembers, a night that keeps score. The concert ended with noise still trapped inside everyone's bones. Fireworks cracked above the stadium like the sky was tearing itself open just for fun. Strangers hugged too tightly. Couples kissed like it was proof they'd survive another year. It was January 1st, 2026, even though the old year still felt very much alive. Ethan burst through the exit doors first, laughing loudly, phone already raised to record. He had the confidence of someone who had never truly paid for a mistake. Money did that. It padded life, softened consequences, turned problems into inconveniences. Lucas followed him quieter, sharper, dressed better. Old money, real power, the kind that didn't need to announce itself because it had never been questioned. Behind them came Noah and Ryan, joking, bumping shoulders, still riding the high of music and alcohol. They weren't poor, but they weren't protected either. They knew how to survive near rich men, be entertaining, be agreeable, never be the loudest voice in the room. Then came the girls. Lena stepped into the cold night air like it owed her something. She was beautiful in a way that didn't ask for permission. She knew exactly how people reacted to her and enjoyed watching it happen. Her smile promised danger and never apologized for it. Maya walked beside her, slower, calmer. She smiled less, but when she did, it meant something. Her beauty was quieter, built on warmth and depth rather than fire. She was the miller's daughter, raised around stone walls, early mornings, and a father whose hands always smelled faintly of grain and oil. She had learned early that things only survive if someone cares enough to maintain them. "Best concert of my life," Noah said, rubbing his ears. "That's because you say that after every concert," Ryan replied. Ethan lifted his keys and spun them. "Who's ready to keep the night alive?" Lena didn't hesitate. "Depends. Is it boring?" Ethan grinned. "I don't do boring." They piled into the SUV. Music blasted again. Wine bottles were opened without concern. Someone joked that if they died tonight, at least it would be memorable. Everyone laughed, even Maya, though something tight and uneasy twisted in her chest. The city disappeared faster than expected. Streetlights thinned. Buildings gave way to trees. The road narrowed, dark and quiet, like the world had leaned in to listen. Lucas glanced out the window. "So, where exactly are we going?" "Farmhouse, out of town." "How empty?" Maya asked. "Closed for 4 years. No neighbors, no noise complaints." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "That's not suspicious at all." Noah laughed. "Relax. Worst case, we get murdered. Best case, legendary party." Maya didn't laugh that time. The farmhouse appeared suddenly, rising out of the darkness like it had been waiting. The porch sagged. The windows stared back like blind eyes. The air smelled wrong. Damp wood, rot, something metallic buried deep beneath time. Noah whiffled. "This place has serial killer vibes." Lucas pushed the door open. It creaked long and slow, like a warning that arrived too late. Inside, dust coated everything like ash. Furniture sat exactly where it had been abandoned. A calendar still hung on the wall, frozen on a date 4 years old. The house didn't feel dead. It felt paused. Ryan pointed at the calendar. "Guess the house forgot to move on." Lena shrugged. "Vintage aesthetic." Candles were lit. Wine poured. Music played softly from a phone speaker, echoing strangely off the walls. Fear loosened its grip under alcohol. Laughter returned. The house tolerated them, for now. Lena danced first, slow and teasing. Lucas joined her. Their bodies spoke before their mouths did. Chemistry sparked, fast and reckless. Hands brushed, smiles sharpened. Lust built without effort. Ethan watched them with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, drinking faster than before. Noah kept joking, humor rattling like loose change. If this place is haunted, I hope the ghost appreciates good music. Maya sat near the fireplace with Ryan. She talked about her father, the mill, the night it shut down after an accident no one ever explained. He never talks about it, she said softly, but silence can be loud. Ryan nodded. Some truths don't like being buried. Midnight passed without ceremony. Then the house spoke. A heavy thud came from upstairs. Everyone froze. "Old house," Ethan said quickly. "Wood expands." Another sound followed, slower, like footsteps. Noah laughed, forced. "Okay, now you're just showing off." The temperature dropped. Breath turned visible. Maya whispered, "Someone else is here." Lucas grabbed another bottle. "We're drunk." Fear split them without asking. Fear never announces itself politely. It doesn't knock, it doesn't ask permission. It just divides people where they stand. Ethan was the first to move. "All right," he said, clapping once, louder than necessary. "Enough. Let's check it out." "Check what out?" Noah asked, still smiling, though his eyes were already scanning the shadows. "The sound," Lucas said. He took another drink, then wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "Old houses make noise. We're acting like kids." Maya didn't like the way he said kids, like fear was something immature, instead of instinct. She opened her mouth to argue, but Ryan squeezed her hand gently, a silent wait. The stairs creaked under Ethan's boots as he stepped on the first one. The sound echoed too long, like the house wanted them to hear every inch they climbed. Noah followed, joking under his breath. "If something jumps out, I'm pushing you first." Lucas laughed. "Fair." Upstairs smelled worse than downstairs, rot and moisture, and something sharp that burned the nose. The hallway narrowed the farther we walked, the walls leaning in like ribs. At the end was a door, half open, swaying slightly even though there was no wind. Ethan pushed it open. The room was wrong. There was nothing in it except a thin mattress on the floor and stains dark enough to swallow the light. The air felt heavy, thick, like breathing through cloth. "What the hell?" Noah whispered. Before anyone could answer, the door slammed shut behind them. Downstairs, Lena flinched at the sound. That wasn't funny. Ryan moved toward the stairs. "Ethan?" The candles flickered once, twice, then died. Darkness fell like a curtain dropped too fast. Lena screamed, sharp and raw. Noah's laughter upstairs turned into shouting. Someone knocked hard against a wall. The house groaned, deep and slow, like it had been waiting years to stretch. Maya's heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. In the dark, her memory woke up. "This place," she said, voice shaking but clear. "My father told me about it." Ryan turned toward her. "About what?" "About a worker, a man crushed at the mill, badly injured. They didn't want an ambulance. They said it would ruin everything. So they brought him here." The house reacted. A heavy dragging sound moved through the walls, metal against wood, chains. Lena backed into Ryan, suddenly all bravado gone. "You're lying." "I wish I was," Maya said. Upstairs, the air shifted. The room pulsed like a living thing. Ethan saw it first. He was no longer standing in the farmhouse. He was in an office, bright, clean. A man lay on a stretcher nearby, gasping, begging, blood soaking through bandages. "Please, just call for help," the man said. Ethan saw his own hands signing papers instead. "No," Ethan whispered, shaking his head. "That didn't happen like this." The vision didn't listen. Lucas saw his father's face, calm and cold, heard the words spoken years ago. "Handle it quietly. Money fixes noise." Noah saw himself in the background, watching, knowing, saying nothing. "No," Noah sobbed, promising that someone else had done it. The house answered without mercy. Downstairs, the chains dragged closer. The walls whispered names. Regret filled the air like smoke. Lena clung to Lucas when he stumbled back down the stairs, eyes wild. She kissed him hard, desperately, like passion could anchor them to the living world. Lust twisted with fear, addiction with denial. "Don't leave me," she whispered. "I'm here," Lucas said, though his voice cracked. Ryan pulled Maya close, wrapping his jacket around her shoulders. Not desire, not heat, just survival, just warmth. Then the house chose. Noah vanished first. 1 second he was there, crying, begging, promising anything. The next, there was nothing. No scream, just absence, like he had never existed at all. Lena screamed again. Ethan ran for the door, shouting names, shouting money, shouting power like it meant something here. The floor opened beneath him. Lucas and Lena disappeared together, locked in fear and desire, swallowed by what they refused to face. Silence followed. Not peaceful, final. Ryan and Maya stood alone in the darkness, shaking, listening to the house breathe. Slowly the pressure lifted. The door creaked open. Pale light seeped in as morning approached. They walked out together, not looking back. Behind them, the farmhouse settled, satisfied for now. Morning came without mercy. There was no dramatic sunrise, no cleansing light, no sense that the universe cared what had happened during the night. The sky simply faded from black to gray.
Like it always did, as if 4 people hadn't vanished into something that didn't belong to time. Ryan stood near the SUV, hands on his knees, throwing up everything left in his stomach. Not just the wine, fear, shock, guilt. Maya leaned against the car, staring at the farmhouse like it might move again if she blinked. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Ryan wiped his mouth and said, "If we stay quiet, they'll say we ran, or that we did something." Maya nodded slowly. "And if we talk, they'll say we're lying." She looked smaller in the daylight, not weaker, just exposed. The strength she carried had cracks now, but it was still there. They drove back toward the city in silence, the road looking harmless in the morning light. Trees stood innocent, birds sang. It made Ryan angry. Nature didn't have the decency to acknowledge what it had witnessed. At the first gas station, reality crashed into them. Phones buzzed, messages stacked, missed calls, parents, friends, panic spreading faster than truth ever could. Ryan answered one call, then another. Each conversation felt unreal, like he was describing a movie he didn't want to finish. Yes, we were together. Yes, we left the concert. No, we don't know where they are. By afternoon, police were involved. 2 officers listened as Ryan and Maya explained the farmhouse, the drinking, the fear, the people disappearing. They left out the whispers, the chains, the house remembering. Some truths sound insane when said out loud. The officers exchanged looks. "So," one of them said, pen tapping his notebook, "you're saying 3 people just vanished?" 4, Maya corrected quietly. That word settled heavily between them. Search teams went out immediately. Dogs, drones, flashing lights cutting through trees that had watched everything without speaking. The farmhouse was taped off. Investigators moved through it slowly, carefully. And then they found things. Old blood beneath the floorboards, rusted chains bolted into beams, bones buried shallow and forgotten, records that should have been destroyed but weren't. The story changed, fast. News vans arrived before sunset, cameras, microphones, reporters hungry for something ugly. They called it mysterious at first, then suspicious, then criminal. "A New Year's Scary Night 2026, the headlines read. Ryan hated the name. It sounded like entertainment. Maya's father was taken in for questioning. She sat in the station hallway for hours, hands clenched, replaying every childhood memory that now felt fragile. When her father finally walked out, his shoulders were bent in a way she had never seen before. "I told them not to," he said, voice barely holding together. "I begged them to call for help. They said the company would collapse. They said people like us don't get second chances." Maya broke then. Years of silence shattered. Ryan held her while cameras flashed outside, hungry for pain. The rich families responded the only way they knew how. Lawyers, threats, quiet settlements offered before questions were even finished being asked. Ryan received a call late one night from a blocked number. A calm voice said, "You should stop talking." Ryan smiled, despite the fear crawling up his spine. "You should have stopped 4 years ago." The line went dead. The nightmare started soon after. Ryan dreamed of footsteps behind him that never caught up but never stopped. Maya dreamed of a man coughing in the dark, begging softly for help that never came. Sometimes she woke up convinced she smelled damp wood and rust. They didn't pretend everything was fine. They didn't rush healing. Some nights they just sat together, saying nothing. Sometimes they laughed, dark, human laughter, about how the worst party review in history would read. Atmosphere terrifying, Ryan joked. Host homicidal, Maya added. It helped, a little. The truth kept surfacing. Documents leaked, witnesses spoke. Money failed to bury the past this time. Public pressure grew loud enough that even powerful names couldn't escape. Charges were filed. Settlements followed. The mill reopened months later, smaller, honest, rebuilt with rules that actually meant something. Maya's father was cleared. His name, once whispered with suspicion, was finally spoken with respect. One afternoon, Ryan and Maya returned to the land where the farmhouse had stood. It was gone. Only dirt, broken stone, and open sky remained. Sunlight poured freely where shadows once lived. The air felt lighter, like something had exhaled after holding its breath for years. "Do you think it's really over?" Ryan asked. Maya closed her eyes. "I think it finally feels heard." They stood there quietly, letting the wind move through the empty space. Time passed, not cleanly, not easily, but forward. On the next New Year's Eve, they stood together on a hill overlooking the city. Fireworks exploded overhead, bright and careless. Ryan raised his cup of cheap soda. "To boring nights," Maya smiled, real and warm. "To surviving the scary ones." They kissed, not to escape fear, not to prove anything, but because they chose to. Some nights don't welcome a new year. Some nights end old lies, expose buried sins, and force the living to carry truth forward. That was the real result of a New Year's Scary Night 2026. After the farmhouse was gone, the world tried to return to normal, but Ryan and Maya knew it never would. Normal was a lie people told themselves when they refused to look into shadows that waited silently in the corners of their lives. They moved slowly through the city, avoiding parties, avoiding late nights, avoiding anything that smelled like reckless fun. Yet even in the quiet, laughter found them. Dark laughter, human laughter, laughter that came from surviving something that should have killed them. Months passed, headlines disappeared, court cases ended. The rich families tried to salvage reputations, but the truth had teeth now. Names once powerful were spoken with contempt. Contracts that protected the guilty couldn't erase what everyone had seen. The dead worker finally had a voice again. The mill reopened. The past, once buried, had clawed itself into the present. Maya's father rebuilt slowly, carefully. He taught her lessons of resilience, of honor, of patience. He let Ryan help, not because he had to, but because he could see Ryan's courage. Ryan wasn't fearless, but he survived. He carried the night, the terror, the weight, and somehow he stayed human. One evening, after a long day of paperwork and courtroom hearings, Ryan and Maya returned to their apartment. She leaned against the window, watching traffic blur past under the yellow streetlights. He watched her watch the city. "You ever think about them?" Ryan asked quietly. Her eyes didn't leave the street. "Every day." "They just vanished," he said. "We survived, but everyone else." Her hand found his. "We don't know what really happened to them. Maybe the house decided something for them. We can't carry it." Ryan exhaled slowly. "Yeah, maybe. But I feel like I failed, like I didn't do enough." Maya turned to him, eyes steady. "You survived. I survived. That's more than anyone else managed. That's everything we can control." They laughed softly. Ryan spilled his coffee. Maya laughed harder. "Seriously?" she said. "You survived ghosts, chains, and disappearing friends, but you can't hold a cup of coffee?" "Caffeine is harder than ghosts," Ryan replied, mock serious. And for a moment, they were just two people, alive, sharing humor like armor. New Year's Eve approached again.
This time, no concerts, no farmhouse, no reckless drinking. They climbed a hill overlooking the city, the fireworks already waiting. The sky lit up like it was trying to apologize for the last year. Ryan raised a cheap soda and a mock toast. To boring nights, Maya smiled, its eyes sparkling. To surviving the scary ones. They kissed. Not desperation, not lust, but choice. They had earned it. The city around them cheered. Fireworks shattered the sky. And somewhere far away, the land where the farmhouse had once stood was finally quiet. No whispers, no chains, no anger. Just memory. But memory is patient, and some nights don't forget. For Ryan and Maya, the scars became a compass, the terror became wisdom, and the night of January 1st, 2026 would live in them forever. Not as a story, but as a reminder. Truth has power, fear has teeth, and surviving is just the beginning. The farmhouse's ghosts were gone, its lessons remained, its revenge complete. And that was the final result of a New Year's Scary Night 2026. Survival, justice, love, and the rarest gift of all, a chance to live forward with truth on your side.